18 days of matches with one match per day. One match per day, so the three venues, there will be just one match as we start here on June the 1st in 1 year from now, England against Bangladesh here. The tickets will go on sale on the 1st of September. That's well ahead of the schedule, but it's good for us to start making this tournament aware, making people aware of what is coming up. Three people who will be sitting here, who will be answering your questions and telling you all about the tournament. I'll introduce them in a moment. There will be opportunities for you to do one-on-one interviews for various media outlets, and I'm sure that you'll want to talk to either Eoin, David or Steve. So let me welcome, first of all, David Richardson, former South Africa wicketkeeper, 42 test matches, 122 one-day internationals. We're in safe hands. David Richardson's Chief Executive of the ICC. So David, if you can come here. I want to actually introduce your counterparts as well. So Steve Elworthy as well, former South African cricketer who played in the inaugural ICC Champions Trophy in Bangladesh in 1998. He is the tournament director for the ICC Champions Trophy for 2017. And Eoin Morgan, who's just flown back from 42 degrees centigrade in India, and of course a very successful campaign with the IPL with the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And Eoin, good to see you back here. So welcome, gentlemen. There's going to be quite a number of questions coming your way. Let's start though with David, with yourself, if you'd like to kick off, open the batting, which I know you like to do now and again, so over to you.
Okay, thank you, Alan. First of all, can I just say good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Oval. We're delighted to be here as one of the venues, together with Cardiff and Edgbaston, for the ICC Champions Trophy in 2017. The Champions Trophy is a celebration of the very best of the one-day game, the 50-over format. It sees the top 8 nations in the world going head-to-head in a compact but hopefully hugely competitive, high-intensity tournament. It's almost 50 years now on from the inception of international 50-overs cricket, and the format still has great appeal to traditionalists and new fans alike. And in recent times, I think it's taken a turn for even better. Mike Selvey in The Guardian hit the nail on the head when he wrote this about 50-over cricket. In 50 overs, there's time for the essential narrative of cricket to unfold. There's a chance for ebb and flow, the fight back, the devastating bowling spell, the resurrection of form, and the time to savour to the full someone who comes to a match at the top of their game. It's almost a case nowadays of 20 overs on steroids for the full day. It's incredibly exciting to watch. The skill you see in a 50-over cricket, we get aggressive batting now, attacking batting, attacking captaincy. Only way to keep people quiet is to be attacking and get wickets, and very athletic fielding. So I think it's a draw for any sports fan who likes to watch athletes at the very top of their game. It's a format where we regularly see now records being broken, where you can see the best players in the world scoring at 200. Tendulkar, Sehwag coming to mind in that respect. South Africa chasing down over 400 against Australia is a memory that I keep close to my heart. And certainly playing the Champions Trophy in England and Wales guarantees for us a great atmosphere, given the wonderfully diverse population in the UK. It means that there's support for every team, almost as a home team, making it a special experience for all the players and for all the teams, no matter where they come from. We know that the grounds will be full and noisy, and the spectators will play a big part in the success of the tournament. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our global broadcast partner Star, UK licensee Sky Sports, and other official broadcasters around the world, as well as our global audio rights partner Channel 2 and its licensees, and the various digital rights licensees including BBC and ESPN in the UK. We'd also like to thank our commercial partners Nissan, Oppo, MRF Tyres, Emirates, MoneyGram, our travel and tour partner Sports Travel and Hospitality, and our merchandise program partner Velocity Brand Management. A year today, here at the Oval, hosts England will be getting ready to walk out in front of a capacity crowd alongside Bangladesh. who will be making their debut in the ICC Champions Trophy. A further 11 group matches will follow before we reach the semi-finals and the final, which will be back here at the Oval on the 18th of June. And certainly we're looking forward to it tremendously, and we hope that you will do so as well. Thanks very much, Alan.
Thanks, David. There will be a number of questions coming your way, and but we'll move on. Let's just start with the group slide. Let's just show you a couple of things that we're going to go through the procedure of the ICC Champions Trophy. We have two groups, Group A and Group B. Group A with Australia, New Zealand, England, and the newcomers, as David referred to, Bangladesh. Bangladesh have qualified by right, and Bangladesh take their place alongside Australia, New Zealand, and England. That opening match here at the Oval a year today on June the 1st. And then England will have 5 days before they play their next match, which is New Zealand in Cardiff. And then England's third game in that group will be Australia at Edgbaston, and they have another 4 days there. So there's plenty of time for England to mount a serious campaign to get everyone fit. Group B, it's India, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. So already you can see some huge matches, rivalries there. India against Pakistan, they start at Edgbaston, and the clamour for tickets for that match will be quite extraordinary. India against Pakistan there, Pakistan, South Africa, England, Australia, and we have New Zealand, Australia. So some of the biggest rivalries in cricket will be at Edgbaston for those giants there. So the two groups, the 8 countries, Group A and Group B. Now then, let's talk to Eoin Morgan. Eoin, captain of England, you've just had, how many weeks do you have in India? 7?
12. Yeah, 12.
Yeah, 12. Is that working? Is the microphone? Yeah. Eoin, so you're back. You start here against Bangladesh, newcomers to the ICC Champions Trophy. They have become, in the last 18 months, a very good cricket team. How do you fancy your prospects against the new Bangladesh?
Yeah, certainly given in the past we've played Bangladesh, in particular the last 2 50-over tournaments we've played against them, they've been a very tricky opposition, and given the last 2 years, I think they've come on leaps and bounds. Given our recent game against them in Adelaide in the World Cup, they turned us over, and given the young players they have coming through, I mean, I played with Mustafiza Rehman in the IPL recently, and if he's anything to go by with the young talent they've got coming through, certainly we won't be taking it for granted. But as a tournament, I think it's very special. It certainly holds a special place in my heart. It was a tournament that kick-started my career in 2009. I came into the side quite young and didn't have a great deal of success, but it was certainly a tournament that I came into and needed to score runs, and as David mentioned earlier, there's no hiding ground in the Champions Trophy. Every game has something on it. The competition to succeed early in the tournament is huge. Yeah.
So your first game is here. Then you've got 5 days before you've got England and New Zealand in Cardiff. Can you count on the Welsh public to support England?
No, absolutely. Given the support we've had down there for Test cricket in particular, I have no doubt that we will have the exact same support. We played in 2013. We played New Zealand down there to a capacity crowd, and my God, the support we had was unique. It was amazing, really.
Got more questions for you to come, Eoin. Let's move on to having a look at what else we have coming up at the Oval. Sri Lanka against South Africa, that will be on June the 3rd. Australia, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and we have India against South Africa. Those matches taking place here at the Oval. The final then will be on the 18th of June. The semi-finals will be in Edgbaston in Cardiff. David, because you just talked about South Africa. South Africa disappointing recently in the ICC World 2020. Big changes there with South Africa. What about their chances starting against a new-look Sri Lankan side?
And I would imagine Sri Lanka gaining experience on this tour will be a much better team come this time next year as well. I think from South Africa's perspective, they still have the batting, world-class batting. They're going through a bit of a transitional stage as far as their bowling is concerned. Steyn coming to the end of his career, maybe.
You might revive it at Glamorgan.
Hopefully they will. So I think in recent times their form in one-day cricket, they've been very successful in putting runs on the board, but not necessarily been able to defend those totals. And obviously that would be something that they'd hope to improve on.
Let's move on to the matches at Edgbaston. Edgbaston, as we said a little earlier, has some of the biggest games and rivalries in the world. New Zealand, Australia, that's the second match of the tournament on the Friday, the 2nd of June, followed by India, Pakistan, South Africa, England, Australia, and it will have the second semi-final. Those are the matches in Edgbaston. Is it just coincidence, David, that Edgbaston has the biggest rivalries in the game?
Well, to some extent it's worked out that way, but Edgbaston, I think they on a regular basis they produce fantastic wickets for 50 over cricket. Wickets that produce attacking batting, and certainly we've seen some great matches in the past. I think it was the Tide match in the One World Cup, South Africa, Australia, and certainly India, Pakistan in the last Champions Trophy was a huge success there as well. So a lovely venue, much improved actually over the last few years, and one not only good for the players but also for the spectators.
Yeah, it certainly is. Tickets hard to come by there. Let's move on to the Swalec Stadium, to Cardiff, and Cardiff has 3 matches plus the first semi-final. We start with England-New Zealand on the 6th of June. New Zealand then against Bangladesh, and a big one for the subcontinent side, Sri Lanka against Pakistan. Steve, for yourself, going to Cardiff, the Champions League final, football's Champions League final, will finish on the 3rd of June, right? That's right, wasn't it? At the Millennium Stadium. So 3 days later, we've got England, New Zealand. That's not a clash that's presenting any problems?
And I see it as a massive opportunity. I think the focus on sports in Cardiff is going to be huge that weekend in the build-up to the Champions League, and then also cricket. So you've got two of the major sports around the globe actually in the same city. And let's be honest, Cardiff has hosted some incredible tournaments and sports over the last couple of years. At the same time, we've seen the brand of cricket, if you use that word, brand of cricket that New Zealand play, kick-starting the summer last year, and I think it's going to be a great game to kick off their campaign down there.
Yeah, let's hope they work on some of those pitches that Glamorgan aren't using so well at the start of this season. Let's move on. The semi-finals and the final. The semi-finals, the first one in Cardiff on the 14th of June. There will be a day rest after the last of the group matches, which is Sri Lanka, Pakistan. The Tuesday the 13th will be a day of rest. Then the first semi-final in Cardiff, which will see the winners of Group A, that's Australia, New Zealand, England, Bangladesh, against the second team in Group B, India, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. And then we come to Edgbaston for the second semi-final, A2 against B1. Eoin, back to you. You're starting at the Oval. You'd obviously like to finish at the Oval. How important is it playing cricket here at this ground? Compare playing here with playing at Lord's.
Yeah, two obviously very, very different grounds. Lord's being my home ground, I know it pretty well, and I think the difference, I suppose, on a batting perspective or bowling perspective, sort of trying to manufacture ways of taking wickets here is very difficult. Whereas at Lord's, it can be a little bit easier because you have the slope to play with. Sometimes you can always talk about protecting one side or bowling to one certain area, whereas the Oval here is a really, really good batting track and promotes really good cricket, and can be very difficult to stop guys scoring and take wickets. So it presents two different challenges, but I certainly believe that playing at home, certainly coming back here to play final, if we do make it, could be an advantage for us.
Yeah, could well be. So let's give you the entire match schedule then. 18 matches. Start, there we are, at the Oval, England against Bangladesh. You can see the matches, those huge clashes at Edgbaston. England will be at the Oval, then they go to Cardiff, and then they go back to Edgbaston. So the three venues there for England, with plenty of time in between those three matches. We're going to have a panel discussion right here. After that, you will have your say to answer or to ask any questions to our three gentlemen here. Let's start with you, David. The ICC Champions Trophy, how big is it in terms of its prestige? How do you market this compared with the ICC Cricket World Cup?
Well, I think we like to look on it as one of our major tournaments. You know, all the other sports have 4 majors a year, and certainly we look on the Champions Trophy as one of those. It's not the World Cup. It has its own prestige. It's for the top 8 only. You qualify in the first place on merit as opposed to just getting your place by virtue of being a full member. So there's a lot at stake, and the nature of it being just over a short 2 to 3 week period, I think it makes it much more compact. The players enjoy being part of it, and you know, you'd never get a bad match, or very seldom would you get a bad match. All the matches are generally very competitive. So I think you know, we try and market it in a way where, hold on, this is something prestigious. Get the white blazers. Just make it a little bit special compared to other major tournaments.
We got the white blazers again.
Of course, it's the only reason why I think we should play.
You didn't play in that '98 inaugural final, did you, in Bangladesh?
No, but then I think I was having my hip replacement.
Right. Because we've got the same 3 venues, was there much discussion within ICC to keeping the same 3 venues, or were there any other venues that possibly were strong contenders?
Well, Steve will probably be able to answer better than I, but certainly from our perspective, we rely on ECB to recommend the venues. They worked exceptionally well for the last event, and we're very happy with the venues chosen this time around as well.
Well, let's move on to you then, Steve, because you are the tournament director. The one change from 2013 is that the final will be here, not at Edgbaston, and that was a freezing. Discussion about using the same 3 venues as 2013?
The discussion was based on a submission process, Alan, and a lot of people in the room probably will know this, but the ECB ran a major match awards process over the course of a 3-year period, and then there were the ECB bilateral matches, and there were also the 3 ICC events that England and Wales are hosting over the next 3 years, being obviously Champs Trophy, Women's World Cup and Cricket World Cup. So part of that and all the submissions that came in from the counties, the independent major match group, assessed those bids and put those venues forward to the ECB board, and then the ECB board then submitted them through to ICC. But listen, from a tournament point of view, if you think of how successful 2013 was, you know, 87% attendance across all three venues across the tournament, which is fantastic. So clearly looking to build on that, and we've had a couple of changes at the venues. Hugh Morris, who was director of cricket, he's now chief exec down at Cardiff. Neil Snowball, who's ex-Rugby World Cup, he's now up at Edgbaston, and obviously we've got Mr. Richard Gould here, a very experienced team at the Oval. So our obviously role in delivering these tournaments is actually stepping them up one more. So putting it, trying to increase on that attendance number and making them bigger and better.
Was it much of a discussion to bring the final here to the Oval rather than keep it at Edgbaston?
No, I think that there was just a view from when we did the schedule and the major match group was that that the final would be in London this time around, and it did nothing untoward at all. It was just we'll bring the final back to London, I think.
What makes this tournament prestigious in your view, having played in it?
Yeah, it's not like Eoin, where his Champions Trophy kicked off his career. I don't think my Champions Trophy kicked off my career as well as that. But in '98, we played, South Africa played West Indies in the final in Bangladesh. It was then, I think it was called the ICC Knockout Trophy. It wasn't the Champions Trophy, but still, it's a major event. And having played in the '99 Cricket World Cup here, and losing in the semi-final in that tied game is a very bitter pill. And I know from clearly from a playing point of view, it's hugely prestigious, and you want to win a global event. And I think a lot of that on-field or playing side of it is actually a lot of what drives me now in terms of, I suppose, delivering these events, which is fantastic to be on the other side, have that experience, and been able to try and deliver that something across these tournaments that we've got over the next 3 years.
And the gentleman on your left has got to do that delivering. So, Eoin, a lot of cricket coming up for you. You've just had a lot of cricket, intense cricket in India. How do you view, from the captain of England's point of view, this ICC Champions Trophy?
Yeah, I think certainly as a group, it's a big thing for us, given that we came together just over 12 months ago now, and are growing so much and quite at a rapid pace. It'll mark 2 years. We've hopefully kept us, about 15, 16 players together, and it'll be interesting to see where we're at in comparison to the rest of the world. I think it's going to be a really important step for us as well.
I mean, there will be different faces from the side that lost the World T20 final in Calcutta. How bruised was the dressing room after that, after Brathwaite in Kolkata?
Yeah, very weird atmosphere to describe. Everybody's obviously down, you're gutted yourself, but on reflection, the whole tournament for us was quite a big success. The fact that it didn't go our way, I mean, that can happen. A guy comes out and hits 4 sixes the first 4 balls of the last over of the World Cup final in Calcutta. It still makes me chuckle. You know, yeah, exactly. So it's quite unique. On our side, I think the one unique thing we do have is that our side actually doesn't change that much between T20 and 50 over. I think that the evolution of the 50 over game, as David has mentioned, has been unbelievable since the most recent World Cup, and again we're doing our best to play catch up, and I said the rate we're growing as a side at the moment is really good for English cricket, and I think it's great for us as a side.
So just picking up what you said there, you say there won't be many new faces, but you've just runner-up in Kolkata, runner-up here in 2013 in Edgbaston. Do you really believe that England have got the players to pull this one off in a year's time?
Absolutely. I think the 2 biggest tests for us in the last year have been against the World Cup finalists. The first series we played here last year at the start of our summer against New Zealand, I think we showed a tremendous amount of talent and will to express ourselves, which gave us a great base over the last 12 months to build on. The follow-up series against the champions Australia came back from 2-0 down to equal the series 2-all, and then went to a decider, and it didn't go away. But certainly I believe a tournament like that will hopefully go in our favour.
And just a quick final question to you about, do you feel the groundswell, the support, not just around England but also in Wales, for this England cricket team?
Absolutely.
They share the disappointment?
Oh, it's incredible. The support we had, I mean, we felt it all the way in India during the T20 World Cup. Constant messages coming through, huge volumes of social media messages. I mean, it's infectious, and certainly with the age group of the side at the moment, everybody hears about it because everybody is on social media networks. So it's great support, and it's unique to any other, I suppose, country in the world, because we get constant support at the ground. It's not just online, it's not just in the street, it's actually at the ground. People turn up every game and will us on, which is great.
It's the modern way, you can't get away from it, can you? Have you done your Periscope today?
Apparently it's, yeah. I'm looking up at the stars now.
Thanks guys. We're going to throw it open to the floor for questions. There will be one-on-one afterwards, but I'm sure that you'd like to ask David, Steve or Eoin some questions. Are we the microphones? They're keeping those. Shall I? So, anyone like to ask the panel a question? Can I go? Jonathan, isn't it? Yeah. Here we go.
I noticed that India and Pakistan have been drawn together again. They drawn together in 2016, this year, 2015 World Cup, 2014 World 2020, 2013 Champions Trophy. 5 tournaments in a row they've been drawn in the group stage. Can you put your hand on your heart and say that's a coincidence?
what we try and do is make sure that when you add up the rankings of the different groups, that they all add up to the equal same number of points. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can go zigzag, you can go sort of like a snake. So no doubt we want to try and put India versus Pakistan in our event. It's massive around the world, and it's probably no coincidence that they two keep ending up in the same group.
Okay, another one here.
David, we talked about the great attendances that were for the last Champions Trophy, and this one we've just seen a Test series against Sri Lanka that wasn't attended that well. In your previous schedule, you had World Test Championships. Yeah. Don't you worry a bit that tournaments like these are actually detracting from your aim to promote Test cricket and keep it alive?
I think that we have a challenge in keeping 3 formats of the same game going and well into the future. I don't necessarily think that getting rid of the Champions Trophy or playing the Champions Trophy will have a negative effect on Test cricket. We at the moment are looking at the competition structures or introducing new competition structures for Test cricket itself, along the lines of a proper league, which I think will help revive and certainly grow the interest in Test cricket again, and make every game every series more relevant in the future. So no, I don't think so. I think we've got to try and treat each of the formats distinctly but equally, because as I say, it is challenging to keep them all going and making sure that the one doesn't cannibalize the other. But I don't think that the Champions Trophy or holding the Champions Trophy is does necessarily have a negative effect on Test cricket.
John?
Perhaps to either David or Steve, I mean, it's less than 2 months since West Indies won the most recent global white ball tournament. I mean, how damaging to the prestige of this event is it? Is their absence to it? But, bearing in mind they're probably the most exciting team in the world with their big hitters.
Unfortunately, they just haven't performed in the 50-over format over the relevant the qualifying period. I think it's something that I know the West Indies Cricket Board have taken to heart and will be determined to make sure it doesn't happen again. But full marks to Bangladesh. I mean, it's not as if they've relied solely on West Indies performing poorly. They themselves have beaten, I think it's South Africa, India and Pakistan at home in one-day series, and fully justify their place at number 7 or number 8 in the world. West Indies, I think, are still currently only ranked 9th in the ODI game, and hopefully this will be the spur to make sure that they improve their performances going forward.
Tim? Questions? All done? All done, I think. Gentlemen, thank you very much. David and Steve and Owen, I hope we have warmer weather in a year from now. I tell you now, it is much warmer in Cardiff, and they've only got 4 games there. So I think there will be one-on-one interviews for various media outlets. Is there a structure to that?
Yeah,
Claire?
If the writers want to go through there, we'll bring everyone to you. It's just a bit more peaceful, and the broadcasters will stay in here, and Fred there will coordinate for you.
Who's first?
Well, we've got 3 of them, so we're rotating.
Oh, right,
so
rotating.
Through, the broadcasters stay in here, and we've got a little rotation going on.
Okay. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for your time, and enjoy your